Hello, 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 hello. What's going on, everybody? How are you doing today? I hope you're doing well. I'm going to wait for a second and give people a chance to come in. I hope you're doing fantastic today. Today, we're going to have a really, really, really good talk. Hello, Teresa. How are you? How are you guys doing? We're in for a really, really, really good talk today. I hope you guys can hear me okay. If anything changes with reception or anything like that, please feel free to let me know so I can make some adjustments. Um, I've been moderating for my husband for a couple of lives, and first just teaching overall. He's just a brilliant, brilliant, brilliant man. But there was a point where he was apologizing for something that he had said that might have be perceived to be hurtful. And so while I'm moderating, I'm looking in the comments, and somebody was saying like, "No need to apologize. What you said was well deserved." And it kind of clicked into my mind that when we retaliate or when we say something unkind to another person or say something to break their spirit or change the perception of how they see themselves, if we were hurt first, we rationalize, justify, and excuse why that's nothing to apologize for. And now, my focus today is not the apology in specific, but my focus is understanding that maintaining your peace is just as much about how you decide to engage as it is about how you receive the energy from other people. And so, when you can hold yourself accountable without anybody telling you that you're wrong, that's adulting, because that means that you hold yourself accountable. You hold yourself to a standard, and you're not waiting for anybody to tell you that you stepped on their toes. You're measuring yourself by way of how you would like to conduct yourself and how you would like to show up in your life experience. And that's a really, really, really good person to initiate accountability and how it may have impacted another person negatively, regardless of whether or not you started it, regardless of whether or not it may have been justified to respond to your own emotions. You still can be adult enough to say, while I was mad at the time, while I was offended at the time, while I felt some type of way at the time, that did not give me cause to hit below the belt. That didn't give me cause to misrepresent myself. That didn't give me cause to violate my own standard and expectations for my own character. And so that kind of brings me around to people asking me, like, how do you maintain your peace? Like, there's a lot of naysayers, there's a lot of haters, there's a lot of people that say derogatory things to you, there's a lot of people that say derogatory things about your family, or there's just negative energy, period, about, towards you specifically. Like, how do you stay so happy? How do you stay high vibrational? How do you um navigate that world? And my answer is simple. I reflect on the experience I want to have. And while, yes, people may say something and it hits your nerve and you like, oh, I didn't like that. What you don't realize is your control starts the minute you feel those emotions and you're contemplating your response. You get to demonstrate whether or not they have so much effect on you that you will step outside your standard for yourself. Or B, that you are within your own control and no one can manipulate you into bombing your own character, soiling your own reputation. Um, and that's where the control comes into play. Not to mention, opinions come in connection with everybody. Everyone will have an opinion, whether it's positive or negative, everyone will have one. And you have to ask yourself, who determines how you move? The opinions of the people around you or your own opinion? You have to ask yourself, are you a person that wants to initiate steps in reflection of your own identity? Or do you want to reflect what fits into the outline of everybody else's expectations? Because you're only going to show up in this life as one person. Either it's going to be the person that everybody else wants to see, or it's going to be the person that you want to see. And when you run into moments of chaos, when you run into moments of conflict, when you run into situations that challenge you or they're uncomfortable for you, that's the demonstration of your character. I had a conversation with a friend of mine about her child, and we were talking about parenting and being moms and everything, and and she's going through a little bit of a rough time, and was talking about how to approach her child expressing their emotions in relationship with another thing. And I said, the crazy thing is when we're parents, we're planting seeds, we're teaching things. This is what you do when it comes to telling a lie. This is how you conduct yourself when you're having a bad emotion. This is how you conduct yourself when you're showing manners, right? What we don't realize as parents is when your child has an emotional challenge, when your child is being bullied, when your child is being pushed outside their comfort zone, that's when your child gets to demonstrate what they're learning from you. That's when you get to that's when you get to evaluate your child and say, is what I'm teaching my child sinking in? Are they absorbing it? Are they applying it? Are they learning? Are they hearing me? Is what I'm saying, what I'm demonstrating, reaching them? You see what I'm saying? And instead of worrying about your own ego, worrying about your own reputation, you should be evaluating your child in that moment to see if what you're teaching them is holding weight, or is insecurity overriding that? Is fear overriding that? Is the fact that they're not absorbing what you're saying at all? So you can evaluate how you're showing up as a parent, and adjust it accordingly so you can ensure the lessons you're trying to teach are sinking in. The same is true when you're talking about yourself. When you say that this is who you are, when you say this is how I roll, when you say I'm gonna keep it 100, I'm gonna keep it a buck, this is me. You know what I mean? I'm not the type to do this. I'm not the type to do that. I'm a real one this. I'm a real one that. That's all well and good. But when you are challenged, when you're put to the test, you actually demonstrate what you've really been working on. You actually demonstrate what you value. You actually demonstrate what's going on inside. It's not about your words anymore. It's about putting the person that you say that you are to the test, to see if you can hang on and maintain that identity that you say you love and that you say you portray so often. What's going on, Sade? Um, and we don't think about that. We don't think about that. In our minds, we're like, if this is who I say I am and somebody makes me mad, I could just fly off the handle and it has nothing to do with my character. Wrong. You're now adding that to your resume of who people think you are. And it's about discipline. It's about who you deem worthy of that type of reaction. I'm not saying that some people shouldn't get to see you spaz or crash out or Read them. I'm doing well. Thank you, love. And I appreciate you asking. What I'm saying is when you're adulting, you get to decide who get that kind of attention from you, who's worth that kind of attention from you. And when you divert your focus from wherever your focus should be onto that person. If you are a person that cannot determine those moments and make a conscious decision, you are what they would call emotionally immature. If all somebody got to do is say something you don't want to hear and you're no longer on your agenda, focusing on your vision, taking care of your grind, taking care of your family, doing what you got to do, you are emotionally immature. Because it shouldn't be that easy. You should be able to say, number one, I don't get into screaming matches with people. Number two, you aren't a factor enough in my life for me to be giving you that type of energy. I'm going to just let you enjoy yourself over there by yourself. Four, the fact that you are coming at me in a disrespectful manner says that you already in your lower vibration. So I have to decide, do I want to join you? Most of these people are not worth you coming down off your pedestal for. I teach on my live on a regular basis. And the minute I say my opinion when it comes to being a mom, being a wife, you might see somebody in the comments with a slick comment. Oh, you barely been a mom for 2 seconds. Why would I learn anything from you? To me, that says low vibrational. The fact that you need to take my resume before you evaluate if what I'm saying makes sense or not tells me the person that's saying that is not a thinker. They're just emotionally reacting. Emotionally reacting without any thought is low vibrational. It's immature. And so I can be adult enough to say, I'm not going to argue with that person. I'm not going to prove that what I'm saying is valid. I'm going to say, you got it. If what I'm saying doesn't make sense enough for you to utilize, if you feel like I don't have enough experience for you to listen to, if your logic is a person needs to be doing a certain amount of whatever for you to even consider whether or not what they're saying is a benefit, I'm going to let you go ahead and have that. But you're missing out on a gem, because the truth is, regardless of anybody's background or experience, they're capable of teaching you something. And when you get to the point to where you think that because a person is down at the time, because a person doesn't have the experience that you think that they should have in order to speak to you, you're juggling, you're toting a line of arrogance. And arrogance does a disservice for you, not for the people around you that are carrying gems trying to decide if they want to share it with you. But you lose out on that information. You lose out on that level up. You lose out of the moment to collect some knowledge, collect some wisdom, and decide if you want to utilize it and apply it to your life, and it may benefit you in the long run. So maintaining your peace is about self-awareness, knowing who you are, knowing what you're willing to sacrifice, knowing what you're willing to waste your time on, what you're willing to not waste your time on, knowing who's worthy and who's not worthy, knowing when to actually protect and when to just disregard and ignore. All of those things, all of those standards, morals, and values are a demonstration of your character and who you are in yourself. When you don't have control over whether or not, if the best you have when you read somebody is they said this, they said that, they said this, you're triggered. When you're operating within a trigger, you're not in control. When you're in control, you can say, this person spoke disrespectfully. As a result of that disrespect, this is how I chose to respond. because I'm not dealing with disrespect. When you can make a conscious decision to say, I knew full well what the consequences were. I did it because I felt like it needed to be done. And sometimes you will. Sometimes you might put your hands on somebody. And while it's not the best way of navigating a situation, you at that moment may feel like that's the proper response here. But when you respond that way and then complain about the consequences, that's expressing and demonstrating immaturity. If you're going to put your hands on somebody as an adult, you should know what the consequences could at least be and decide whether or not you want to inherit those consequences and say, I knew it could probably come to that, but I felt like that needed to be the response. You're reckless with your behavior when you're responding in a way and you don't know what could come from that, yet you're doing it. That's how children behave. That's how adolescents behave. They don't consider the consequences. That's why. What's going on, Pimo? What's up, love? Thank you so much for coming to grace the stage on my page. I appreciate you coming here. We're still building over here. So I'm not high rolling like you high rolling, but I'm gonna get there one of these days. But it takes a lot of focus and a lot of discipline to let people not penetrate your skin. And one thing that I say all the time is what's wild is when someone can distract you, someone can say something offensive, someone can wow out. And sometimes you don't take the time to see the most obvious thing, that while you're stressing and being offended about things that might have been said or might have been done, you woke up today living in your purpose and they woke up today with you on their mind. Only one of us is living in hell. You have to decide in that moment, are you going to go join? Stuff like social media, like how we deal with high school, when you have rumors in high school, you can decide if everybody just going and going and going, if you're going to invest in that energy, or you're going to say, I know who I am. I don't have the time. I'm not wasting the energy. I'm going to let you go ahead and have that. And for me, I think that speaks volumes of an adult versus somebody that is high in age, but in an emotionally immature place. I have my son, I have my family, I have my pages, I have new business ventures. I don't wake up like, who said what's going on? And it's not because I don't get curious. It's because it doesn't serve me. That doesn't feed my baby. That doesn't bring money in my home. Thank you, Pimo. I appreciate that. Thank you. That doesn't bring money in my home. That doesn't maintain my peace. That doesn't make sure I sleep well at night. It doesn't make sure I'm eating healthy. It doesn't make sure that my husband's mind is pure and untainted and undistracted. So how does my attention towards that thing serve me? I see people getting into it in the comments. All you need is somebody to say something slick and you ready to jump on somebody. If that's how easy it is to knock you off your square, love, you'll never get to where you're going, because everybody and their mama will be a distraction. You shouldn't distract so easily. Being an adult looks like being focused. Being an adult looks like being disciplined. Being an adult looks like deciding when someone's going to get your energy versus when you're going to allow them to understand you are invisible to me. while you hooping and hollering and doing all this crazy stuff and trying to get some type of reaction from me, you ain't even on my radar. When you can carry that energy and understand your response is not needed all the time. Sometimes you could just sit back and watch everything play out and you'll learn everything you need to know. Everything you need to know. Thank you so much, Pimo. I actually checked out a live of yours recently. And I know everybody with everything going on. I don't want anybody to think that I don't see y'all. I definitely do. I'm just not too much for the comments because um you know, I know that people mistake being in the comments for y'all besties now or whatever they want to assume, so it's like you kind of have to be careful with that. But Pimo, you've been over there doing your thing. You've been over there doing your thing. There's a couple of people that I actually enjoy when I get, a notification and check them out. Invisible. I'm an ignore queen to a fault. And it's not, and the crazy thing is, it's not, it will never be a fault of yours. It will always be a strength of yours. Because if you pay attention to people around you, they are so easily phased by the things around them. And I'm like, I know for me, I come off like a very unfazed person. And I'm that, and don't get me wrong, like I've heard things and seen things that I did not like. And then I take a moment to myself and I say, you know what, you're no one. And I say, and I'm like, I feel bad when I say it because I'm like, you know what? I sound like a real sedity and uppity female, by saying that out loud. But I'm like, I can't help but say it because that's genuinely how I feel. I'm not trying to be sedity. I definitely don't think I'm better than anybody. But it's a moment when somebody is practically, that's what I see in my mind. And that's one way how you keep your peace too, is see it how it is in your mind. When you see somebody taking, doing too much and, you know, spreading rumors and that kind of thing, I see somebody going like this. Look at me. Look over here. Look over here. Look over here. Look over here. Hey, hey, hey. You know what I mean? Like I see somebody going completely crazy just for you to go like this. In my mind, I go all the way back to high school and I say, they got the cool kids, they got the nerds, they got the hood section, they got you know what I mean? The jocks. I said, and when it comes to the jocks, there's always that group of people that want to be part of the jock club, but instead of them admitting that to themselves, all they do is make friends with each other and talk a lot of trash about the jocks and how crazy they are and what a waste of time they are. But the minute they get a shot to become a part of the jocks, they will walk they behind over there and be like, and let go of their own friends. And be like, listen, I hear y'all, but they invited me to a party. And you see that in all the movies. And my thing is never betray yourself. Never betray yourself. If you're going to come out of your square, if you're going to come out of your box, thank you, Pimo. I appreciate that. Um, if you're gonna react in a certain way, you make sure you decided on that, not that you're in an emotional trigger. Being in an emotional trigger is how you embarrass yourself. Take some time to deliberate, take some time to mull it over and say, you know what? This is what I'm doing. And you could tell the difference by how it looks, by how it sounds, by how it feels, whether or not they're completely triggered and operating in their blindness versus being in their free thinking, in their intellect, and in their deciding of executing something in a particular way. It looked completely different. And it will always let you know where they are in their state of maturity. And even sometimes I look at my husband's behavior in certain situations and I go, yeah, I gotta clap you up. Cause in that moment right there, I don't know if I'd have been, I wouldn't have been ready to do that right then. You know, sometimes when you feel a certain way, you're just like, I feel a certain way and I want to stay feeling a certain way, you know? And I love those moments when I can look at him and go, yeah, that couldn't have been me right there. Like I'm not, I know right now I'm not in my highest maturity to have done that right there. You know what I mean? Because it puts it in perspective to me, even though it's a small thing, even though it's uh somewhere I can see myself getting to eventually. I love being able to observe a goal that now needs to be set. So like other people in their maturity, when they're demonstrating their queenship, they don't offend me. They inspire me. I was just giving another queen her props for doing her thing. And I think that being unbothered is a gift. It is a skill. It is a true demonstration of character. Like, even when it comes to my husband, like, he's been in situations where he could have made a decision to make a decision that will determine the fate of the rest of his life. You know what I mean? And to watch him do something better than that is amazing to see. It's clap it up worthy. It's pat you on the back worthy. It's salute, I see you worthy. And I think that if people were around more people like that, they would learn how to move. They would um, be inspired to do something a little bit better. And I think for me, I know, and the best thing that I would recommend for anybody is, one thing that he said today was, what are you in it for? And for me, I said, you know, I want my son to be well. I want my family to be well. I want my goals to be reached. And for me, that's so important to me that I wouldn't dare turn my head to go, what you talking about? What you say? What happened? To me, even that is a waste of energy. Because in my mind, I'm saying, I could be doing this for my child. I could be studying this online. I could be establishing and getting this paperwork done so I could finalize starting this business. I could be getting chapters done in my book. When I remind myself what I could be doing instead, it's a no-brainer to me. And that helps keep me focused. You know, I see stuff online sometimes and I pull them up in the comments. And sometimes I read them so quick and I be like, girl, you, woo. And then I go back and read it and I'll delete it. Type it up again. No, I should have said. And then I ask myself, is this how I want to see myself? If nobody saw the moments before and the moments that will come, and this is a possibility, especially when you're on social media, but in your life in general, if someone saw this moment and they didn't know who I was up until this moment, they will never see how I show up after this moment, and all they have is this moment right here to define me. Would I be proud? If my answer is no, I'm like, man, delete. Ugh. And I'll sit on the couch like, ugh, like I should just be able to release it the way I want to release it. But I love my spirit. I love the integrity. I love the joy. I love the determination, the the conviction that's instilled in me, that even when I hit a moment where I'm getting ready to step outside my square and show you what I'm really capable of, my spirit is like, have you lost your mind? Do you know what that would do? Is that really who you want to be? And I always tell myself and I tell my clients, always answer honestly. Don't ever lie to yourself. When you lie to yourself, you do yourself a disservice. When you getting ready to call somebody out their name, when you getting ready to say something hurtful, when you getting ready to do something that really demonstrates poor character, ask yourself in that moment, is this really how I want to be seen? If somebody were to send this to, like, my mother passed away. I just have my father. But if my father were to see this, would I want to explain? Would I want to justify? Would I want to rationalize? Would I want him to overlook my poor behavior? If I think this would embarrass me to the person that gave me life, the answer is no. Do not submit. If what I'm getting ready to do right now, I wouldn't want my younger brother to see and repeat, the answer is no. Do not submit. You see what I'm saying? Do not pass go. And those things, my standards for myself, keep me in line, because I say to myself, would I want my father to see this? What if my brother picked this up from me? Now that I have my son, what if my son sees this? What if I catch him doing this? And that helps me regulate, giving myself permission to step into a character that I know that I'm not. But there will be times, and there have been times where I have used bad, foul language to set somebody straight, and I wasn't sorry. But those were moments when I decided that that's how I was going to respond to somebody that crossed me way too many times. And I am an adult, so I can say I'm okay with being somebody who used curse words at one time. I'm okay with the fact that I read this person for this reason. I can live with that. No regrets, no apologies. Adults need to be able to do that. But I will never betray myself. That's when I have regret. I have regrets personally. I can't speak for everybody else in the world. I don't think you should have regrets. That's what I mean when you need to be self-aware and make a definitive decision about your actions, good or bad, and inherit those consequences like an adult. You don't do something to somebody and then go to jail and then be upset that you went to jail. You should have done that knowing full well the possibility could have put you behind bars, and you did it anyway. Like, doing something like that and not knowing that's what it will cost you shows immaturity. Like, if you cuss somebody out and you didn't ask yourself, are you willing to endure what comes after you cuss them out? If you put your hands on on somebody, and you didn't consider the retaliation in connection with it, immaturity. But if you could put your hands on somebody and say, whatever comes, comes after this, but this needs to be done, you're an adult. Whether the consequences for your actions are good or bad, you are an adult. Hello, Terry. How you doing, love? And people don't understand the difference. People think that if you don't speak, you're scared, you're running, you're, you know what I mean, being manipulated or whatever else they want to say. But you can also be an adult deciding that another adult is not worth responding to, is not worth engaging in, it's not worth even acknowledging their existence. And for women specifically, for women specifically, we have to learn our silence does a whole lot more. Like, not giving somebody your energy, sis, does a whole lot more then you acting a fool. What you say? You got me. Yeah, I'ma do this and I'ma do that. No, love. Us as women, that's not how you show you're unfazed. I don't care how many times you be like, I don't care about what you talking about. You got me messed up. You ain't nobody. You ain't this and you ain't that. I never give you that kind of attention whole time you talking. Love, you being flustered like that and telling them that they don't have your attention while you giving them your attention makes you a liar. Love, when you're unaffected, they don't get a response from you, especially women. Especially women. When we emotional, we go off verbally. What's going on, dream girl? How you doing, sis? We go off verbally when we trying to read somebody. A woman that's truly in her you ain't nobody energy, she will never even speak your name, look in your direction, honey. You will feel invisible to her, regardless of how many times you like, hey, hey, hey. And that's how I see people. When you run in your mouth, that's how, look at me, look at me. Hey, girl, look over here. Hey, girl, hey, look over here. That's what I see in my mind. Is someone desperate for attention. And if I don't like you, if I don't like how you move, if I don't like what you say, your name will never be spoken. You won't see me in your feed. You won't see me review no videos. You won't see me talk. You won't hear no rumors about me talking to nobody about what you said. When I promise you, you will swear I don't even know you said it. So invisible. And that's the part that women really have to get together in our development is you can't verbally tell somebody that they're a nobody and you talking to them to tell them that they're a nobody. You exhausting the energy to tell them that they're a nobody makes them a somebody because you will waste your energy to tell them they're a nobody. Love, when they're a nobody, you don't even speak to them. When they're a nobody, you don't respond. Women, men are protectors. I'm not talking about my husband. Men are protectors. Their actions. We work in spirit world. We are women. We work in spirit world. When we come out and start running our mouth, you are now in the physical plane. We are in spirit world. We are the symbols of vibration and frequency. You don't have to say a thing. That's why mama has that look, child. When you got kids and they in trouble, all you got to do is look at them and they be like, I'm sorry, mama. You don't have to tell them that they out of line. We are sometimes when we're in our words, like even now, me teaching like this, sometimes you're tapping into your masculine energy. This doesn't make you a masculine woman because we all carry masculine and feminine energy. But when you're in your words, you're in your actions. The emotion you feel, that's in spirit world. That's in your femininity. The minute you start running your mouth in connection with your internal, that's you transferring from your feminine into your masculine self. Especially if you talking hostile. If you are translating your insides into care, into nurture, into support, into love, into uplift, you are bringing forth your feminine energy verbally. But when you are shutting down somebody's energy, when you are tearing down somebody's self-esteem, when you're crushing their spirit, you in physical plane. You are asking for a physical reaction to your words. Women who are in their feminine, women who are in their grace, women who are in their submission of themselves, keep their energy in spirit world, because that's where we keep our peace at. When you jump into physical plane, you ready to, you know what I mean? You're ready to start a whole different type of war. Women's war is a verbal slandering. We like to slander people with our words when we get hostile. It take a whole lot more for us to hit actual physical contact. So when you're in your war, you're in your masculinity. And so that's a demonstration of us in our maturity as well. Because a woman in her femininity, she's not gonna get pulled out her square. Not for you, not for nobody, because we know when we're taken over by stress, we're no good to anybody. When we don't feel safe and we don't feel secure, we're not good to anybody. You can't be an optimum wife. You cannot be an optimum mother. You can't focus on your job. When you feel stress, when you feel lack of security, when you feel hostility on you, your body is unregulated. You're out of balance. Do you know when chaos is going on? Women don't feel good in that place. We feel a lot of weight on us. We feel a lot of panic, a lot of worry. That's why we're not warriors. That's what our king is for. He's the one to go pick up the sword. He's the one to go pick up the bat. He's the one to pick up his fists and be physical, because his body, his physicality, his logic is literally built for physical world. That's why women excel in their creativity, in their imagination, in their love and care and nurture, because we're spirit world, we're energy. So women, when we can maintain our peace in the midst of chaos, that's when you are really demonstrating that you are encompassing all things woman. You're in your queenship. You are womaning. When another woman cannot control when you spaz. That's how you know a grown woman from a little girl. If all you got to do is say something slick to her and her voice hits the ceiling and they're already calling you all type of names, if all you got to do is say something that she ain't trying to hear and she already ready to talk about you and everybody else around you, it shows a lack of emotional intelligence, a lack of emotional development. And one extra thing that was mentioned on my husband's live that I thought was brilliant is how quickly we will try and make higher vibrational behavior a something to clown. Like, oh, you talking all smart. Like, you know what I mean? That's how you know low vibration when you see it. When somebody thinks that you speaking well is something to talk trash about, like you're the one with the problem. That's not, there's no reason why you need to look at somebody like that and say, this is somebody I need to react to. This is somebody to respond to. You're talking to a person that acknowledges speaking English like we were taught to speak as being high and mighty, instead of somebody that got the education they were supposed to have, the same education everybody else is supposed to have. When speaking eloquently, somebody, it's funny to call you a square, as if to say that you are less than in some way for learning the things you were supposed to learn. I love this. My husband was definitely a warrior. He made me understand the value of being a woman. So thankful. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I talk a lot about the man versus the woman. What we need to understand is that we talk about yin and yang. But when I tell you the roots are so deep, what I need you to understand, sis, is that when you have a husband, when you get a man, I need you to understand what you're choosing, okay? Not only are you choosing protection and security, you're picking your armor. Let me say that again. When you choose a husband, when you choose your life partner, you're not just picking a protector. You're not just picking a provider. You're choosing your armor. This is the person you wear to feel safe so you don't have to do it for yourself anymore. Okay? So understand how important that is. That means when you tap into your fear, you go to him. The reverse is true. When a man chooses a woman, when a man chooses a woman, when a man chooses a woman, he is choosing his heart and soul. When he feels pain in his body, he does not show it because he's the armor. His wife cries. His wife gets worried. His wife gets scared. She carries his emotion within her body. She is his internal self. So when they are in unison, you guys see them roll together. When the threats come, the armor flexes. The protection becomes vast and expands outward and covers all under his protection. While she stands behind him with worry, she stands behind him in fear. She stands behind him covering the children. She does everything his emotional self would do. The place that he cannot live in, because if he lives in those emotions, it will make his armor weak. It will make his armor soften. And the woman allows that energy to pass through her body. She allows the fear to pass through her body. She allows the worry to pass through her body. So she is his conduit to release emotion. That's why she should build a safe space for him emotionally. And she should have no thought to protection, to security, because in the moments where she feels like bravery is needed, when a sword is needed, when an axe is needed, her man is there to flex. If your man is not your interpretation of soldier, if she is not your interpretation of love, y'all might be at a mismatch. You should be the other side of the coin to your person. So if you fit your person, you know when he's in pain. You know when he's hurting because you hurt. He knows when you're scared, but because he's activated in his area of protection. He feels like someone needs to be guarded. You guys are both activated at the need of your partner in the event that you're supposed to be activated. You see what I'm saying? And that's the yin and yang of us. So when you have men refusing to release energy, they're likely not ready for a female partner because she's there to be his conduit to his emotional self. When a woman is resisting having a man in her life, she's likely not ready to have a man in her life because she doesn't want to use her conduit for protection. She wants to protect herself. She doesn't want to utilize an outside source as her protection. A feminine woman does. A submissive woman does want that. Even if it's going to be difficult in her transition to grow into that state, that's her objective. So when you're rejecting your opposite self, you're deciding to carry more weight than you should. Men don't do well when they're overwhelmed with emotion. Women don't do well when they're overwhelmed by financial responsibility, the need to have your head on a swivel all day. That causes women stress because that's not your nature. You're supposed to be covered in armor. Men are supposed to have a conduit for their emotion, and that's typically their woman. Maintaining your peace looks like self-awareness and knowing you need that to maintain your peace. A woman should know that her armor is the reason why she can maintain a peaceful state. And it should be easy for a woman to maintain her peaceful state, especially if she's on the arm of a man. It should be easy. The last 30 minutes is everything a woman needs, at least one. Absolutely. What's going on, Tamika? Good to see you. Absolutely. A woman in her soft space, she doesn't give that type of energy to the things around her, because a woman knows that her energy is on reserve for her children. Her energy is on reserve for her personal creativity. Her energy is on reserve for the needs of her husband. She don't have time to do gossip. She don't have time to worry about what external world is up to. She don't have time to waste her energy. She just doesn't have time. And when you see people wasting their time, you have to ask yourself, as a woman, this should help you gauge whether you're dealing with a mature woman versus an immature woman. A mature woman, if she has a problem, she's going to come directly to you and you guys are going to have a conversation. An immature woman, everybody else going to hear about it but you. What's going on, Rochelle? Blessings to you as well. Um, Nobody should live in fear. True enough. But fear is a part of the process. Nobody should live in fear, but we do experience fear. And when a woman experiences fear, her armor should be her protection. Her knowledge of him being there should eventually help her transition out of that fear. Um, but no, nobody should live in constant fear. But keep in mind that with a woman, first her armor is her father. Then her armor may be, let's say, her father and her brothers, you know. But when she attaches herself to a man, when she has children with a man, when she marries a man, that man becomes her armor. She should always be protected. And women in this day and age, they want to communicate that they can take care of themselves, but you will always need armor, love, regardless of who you think you are and who you're trying to prove yourself to. A woman who is honest with herself will say when she comes home from work, first thing she wants to do is wash off all that weight. You can take it's like taking a deep breath and feeling like you can get more air into your lungs than you could when you was outside, because you're no longer anxious. Your head is no longer on a swivel. You're no longer clocking everybody doing everything, worrying about your safety. That's what a woman has to do. She is hyper activated when she's not standing next to her man. She's prepared to react to anything. Us being in that state is not natural. That's why we're exhausted when we get home. That's why we're agitated and irritated most of the time, is because feeling like that tweaks our emotions, our frequency, our vibration off balance. And because we're off balance, we're irritable. What women don't realize is we base our peace off of consistency, security, and stability. And when those things are out of whack, we don't feel safe naturally. This has nothing to do with a man's behavior or lack thereof. If in our life as a single woman, if things are chaotic, we don't feel okay. We can barely sleep. We can barely eat. We could barely keep a thought without, having short attention span. We're worried all day, tense all day. When we're functioning like that, we are not okay, and you are not in the divine feminine. You're completely activated and in survival mode. You can be in that existence and have a man nowhere near you. So a woman needs to understand this is not about his behavior, what he does or what he doesn't do. You need to understand that consistency is what gives you peace. Security is what gives you peace. And when you understand that that's what it is, not the person in themselves, but a specific unfolding of events, a specific chain of events that activates you, then you know what to look for in a man. Absolutely, our surroundings. You can literally drive down the street and somebody cut you off on the road. You'll be hyperventilating for the rest of the day. And that determines how we show up in the world. You know what I mean? The minute something throws you a left hook in your day, you're irritable. And if nothing happens to set it back in balance, you're irritated all day. Everything else is just piling on top of it, making it worse. So that's what we look like when we're not regulated. So we have to learn how to regulate ourselves, and then a man builds security to maintain that. He shouldn't have to teach you how to regulate your own emotions. You should understand lack of consistency will do it. Well, and that's the reason why when you're with a man and you know what he does, you'll be like, girl, he'll come through the door, drop his work stuff at the bottom of the stairs. Then he gonna go in the kitchen and get himself a beer. Then he's gonna go in the bathroom for 30 minutes. Then he's gonna come out and drop his clothes right here. Like a lot of you women, you know your man. You see what I'm saying? When he get home, he gonna do this, he gonna do this, he gonna say that, he gonna do this, he gonna do this, he gonna do this. Then he gonna end up on the couch playing the game, or he gonna end up on the couch watching TV, or he gonna go take a nap. You know your man well enough, right? When your man come home and he don't go through that itemized list, he don't get here at the time he usually get home. He smelled different. He got on cologne. You messed around and he done dropped his clothes in the bathroom before he got in the shower. You checked and you see a new brand of underwear. You like, oh, your man, your brain goes off pattern, off pattern, off pattern, off pattern. Alert, 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 alert. Something's wrong. Something's wrong. Something's wrong. He got on cologne. That's a new shirt. Who bought him that shirt? I didn't buy him that shirt. You know what I mean? Our brain keeps track of patterns, whether we know it or not. We think women that are immature think that noticing a change in pattern means that the person automatically did something disrespectful. But it's your body alerting you to inconsistency so you can know that this needs to be addressed, because you're feeling like you lack security because something happened that you didn't expect. A mature woman is going to say, oh, this is a nice shirt. Where'd you get this from? To collect some data for her sanity. An immature woman is going to pick up this shirt and go, what is this? Who bought you this? It was probably that girl that I saw looking at you the other day, because I know I didn't buy it. She gonna fly off of the handle. Whole time, she done bought him the shirt. She just can't remember. You see what I'm saying? We'll do all of that over tracking patterns. That's how we know when something's wrong. Because if we ask him what's wrong, we know what him being all right sound like and what he sound like when it's something wrong. When men usually say nothing, everything's fine. When that response changes, she knows to keep poking and prodding, because that's not what he usually says when he's good. So as a woman, you need to know what those triggers look like, and whether you in a relationship or not, inconsistency paves the way for you to feel unstable emotionally. So you have to learn how to communicate with your partner. That's why women say, I would like for you to check in. Let me know where you are. Let me know when you'll be home. Because you don't want her in a state of, I don't know where he is. I don't know when he's coming back. That's when the brain gets to depositing worry, 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 freak out. Something's wrong. Somebody's hurt. And you know what I mean? She'll be, because you said you were coming home at 7 o'clock and you know what I mean? And it's 10, 11 o'clock at night. She'll be calling police stations and calling hospitals looking for you because you didn't answer your phone. You did that because of inconsistency. You see what I'm saying? And not knowing that your girl needs consistency to be all right. That's how all of us are wired. It don't matter how immature you are or how mature you are. What distinguishes us from being mature and immature is how we react to those flags when we notice inconsistency. Like I said, a mature woman will come to you innocent. You won't even know it's a red flag at this point. Babe, this is a nice shirt. Where'd you get this? She's collecting data so she knows whether or not she should be freaking out over the things she spotted. Same principle, but she's gonna attack it like she's grown and she knows full well she could completely be in her crazy right now. So she's not gonna approach him like that. She's gonna ask him a simple question. This is a nice shirt. Where'd you get this? The immature person is gonna see that shirt, swear she know exactly what she looking at, and she gonna come at you full press. And then she gonna have to apologize for it later because it was nothing. That's how you determine the emotional intelligence of a woman. As a woman, that's how you determine your emotional intelligence within yourself. If you feel a thing and you automatically put together all these context clues and you automatically know this has to be what it is, but you haven't collected any facts at all, you're emotionally immature. A mature woman can see something, it trigger her, and she go, oh no, he probably forgot today. Because that's also a possibility. Maybe he's going to do it later and he just didn't do it yet. That's also a possibility. You see what I'm saying? But when you're in your immature emotions, you don't consider those things. You automatically think whatever your brain came up with is facts. And you're going to run with it and burn the whole house down trying to prove that you're right until you find out you're not. So us as women living like that and also engaging and giving in our opinions, our 2 cents here, our 2 cents there, understand that there's a distinction between a mature woman and an immature woman. So mature women hear other women talking trash and go, girl, bye. I don't have that kind of time. Who are you? Immature women, you just say what you say. It's about to go down right now. And forget about the children. Forget about your job. Forget about you're representing the man that's on, that you're on his arm. Forget about your business that you're representing. You said something slick. A grown woman knows that she needs to preserve her empire, period. And she's going to move like that because that's the priority. That's worth more to her than proving to you that she could drag you if she wants to. A woman that's in her maturity, she know who she is, and that if you come a step too close, you're going to find out that I can do that too. But she don't need to tell you. She don't need to boast. She don't need to beat her chest. She know what she rocking with. You going to be the one to find out. Like they say, mess around and find out. Queens know that. Just don't think because I am sitting here on this throne that I won't come down, my guy. Don't think for 1 second because my crown is sitting here and my head is too high that I don't see you. Don't think for 1 second because I speak intellectually and I have an education and I care about my family that I'm not just as ready to protect my family in a physical sense. But it has to be a moment where I think that's the moment to utilize that part of myself. It's not because she doesn't exist, beloved. It's because the situation doesn't call for me to tap into that part of myself because I have my armor with me. That is the that's the moment that she demonstrates. I trust my representation. I trust my representative. I trust my protector. I trust my provider. But it doesn't mean just because she is kept, just because she's taken care of, does not mean she's not equipped with the skills. And that's a part of a woman that she can hold inside her body and just smile sometimes. Like, girl, sounds good. you know? And so maintaining your peace is a skill. You need to know these things around you. Know that you have your armor. Know that you have your intellect. Know that you have more important places to place your energy. Know that the people that's yelling, hey, hey, look over here. Hey, look at me. Look at me. They require something from you to feel valid, to feel valued, to feel worth something. And your glance, you talking in that direction, you addressing things, you responding, feeds the negative energy because your light is so vibrant. People got to eat. Some people only get light from distracting the sun. Okay, Pimo. I appreciate you. I appreciate you for being here. I really do. Some people only get a part of the sun by chomping off somebody else's rays. Unfortunately, people that shine bright and secrete, the glow, we assume everybody has it. And everybody has it, but their means of obtaining it is different. Some people were born shiny. Some people learn a skill over time and become shiny. And then some people don't bother to look for their shine. They just see other people lighten up the room and they go snatch a ray off the sun and then pass it as their own and say, look, I'm glowing, I'm glowing. And then when the ray disintegrates, they got to go find somebody else to take one from. Those people, you just have to hope that they find the glow that lies inside of them and hope that they learn that they will never sustain themselves if they don't create their light, if they don't tap in. A lot of people will be standing next to you feeling like they shining as bright as you are, but for some of them, the light that they're shining with is stolen. Because they don't have enough work ethic to shine. They don't have enough discipline to shine. They don't have enough dedication to shine. They don't have enough motivation and drive to shine. They don't have enough willpower to shine. And they know it. So they become a thief. They hijack. They get a little taste of the shine every so often because they're a good thief. But it disappears. People that come with light, that maintain their light through work ethic and drive and persistence and resilience and knowledge and wisdom and work ethic and all of those things, they don't even realize they're glowing because they're so dedicated to their evolution, so dedicated to their commitment to whatever their agenda is, that they're a workaholic. Essentially, they work so hard and try to cultivate themselves in the way they want to see themselves, so much so that They don't even realize that they're becoming a magnet, like the way the planets circulate, you know what I mean, or gravitate. They don't even realize that there's so much glow in you that you're attracting everybody. You're attracting people who have their own light, and you're attracting people that want to steal it. You're attracting people that need sunglasses. You're attracting people that prefer shade. You're attracting people. You're attracting a little bit of everybody. Some of them are so sick of you drawing them in. Those are the people that, like, on social media, when they be like, "Why do I keep seeing your page?" That best be having me rolling, y'all. Be like, just move on. But some people are being drawn in and they don't want you drawing them in. Like, literally, there are some people that are happy in their low vibration. Those are the ones that when you tell them how to be better and they be like, don't nobody want nothing from you. I like it here. Leave me alone. And you be like, whoa, shot of life, right? I thought people that go through survival mode are just there because they don't have any other option. You know, if they knew better, they would do better. I always carried that mentality. Never in my life did I think that a person could know better and still choose not to do better. That wowed the mess out of me a couple years ago. I was talking about behavior and how to be mature, and this is how you work on establishing consistency in maturity. And I had a lady on there, and she was like, she got in the comments and she was just like, and you're probably right, but I'm not trying to do that. I feel like this is the way it needs to be done, and that's just who I am. And I had to sit back and look at that and go, you mean to tell me you acknowledge that that's the right way to handle things, yet you're still going to handle it the toxic way because that's who you are? Whoa. Girl, I had to take a seat and go, my life has always told me that if you knew better, you would do better. So in my mind, if you're doing poorly, it's because you don't know any better. You lack information, you lack access, you lack the knowledge, you lack the experience. I never knew. I never knew you could know the right thing and actually decide to do it wrong. Like how people say, it's a mistake when you didn't know what the right thing to do was. But when you know what the right thing to do is and you do it anyway, it's a choice. I would argue nobody actually chooses to screw up. After talking to that lady, I was like, people may actually choose to screw up on purpose. And they know it's a screw up. Like, I think that, like, and it just wowed my mind. And so it's like, you have to understand that even in your maturity, you have to, you may try and save somebody, you may try and uplift somebody, you may try and support somebody, you may try and feed somebody's spirit. But some of these people that you give your best to, they legit don't want it. They know it's good for them and they still don't want it. They know it's beneficial to them and they still don't want it. They know that you are a positive demonstration in their life and they don't want you around. They want you to stop talking. And it's not because they don't understand you, it's because they literally don't want to live like you. They literally they don't aspire to be you. That's a cold game right there. If you knew better, you would do better. It sounds good, right? But in reality, some people know better and still choose not to do better. What do you do with those people but not look at them? Once you figure out this person does not want to be better, they just gonna run themselves into the ground regardless and complain about it the whole way and they still don't want no help. Child, you gotta curve them type of people. Leave them where they at for before they come weight around your neck. That's insane. That is insane. What? Thank you, Dream Girl. She says so true. These people crazy, yo. And so, like, as much as you want to, What's going on, Mavis? So good to see you. It's been a while. Everybody isn't there for you to save. You plant, you give a seed to them and they decide whether or not they will water it. Everybody is not going to be there for you to fix. Some people don't want to be fixed by you. Some people don't want to be fixed by you because they like it where they are, and some people don't want to be fixed by you because they want to figure it out on their own. Maintaining your peace looks like knowing what's your business and what's not your business. Absolutely. Yes, indeed. But then they will lie and try and make you the problem. And it will happen. It can happen. And that's when you recognize toxicity. That's when you identify low vibration. That's when you tell yourself, I can't be affiliated with those type of people. Congratulations, Mavis. So proud of you. And I appreciate you still tapping in when you can. You've been a busy bee. Congratulations. I salute you for your accomplishments. That's wonderful. It's a crazy world out here, yo. And especially women, because we bring people through our portal. We decide whether or not a person will exist. If no one is proficient at ignoring the foolery, women have to be proficient because our energy, if you already have children, you still have a thread tied to your children. So you not maintaining positive and balanced energy keeps your children out of balance, even outside your womb. If you are with child, you are affecting them directly and affecting their development, affecting their trauma responses because they're marinating in that water. That's the vibration and the frequency that you're bathing your child in. That's how you create a child that can't sleep well because you're not a safe space. Your womb is not a safe space. Women have to be emotionally intelligent because we disturb the water when we're not okay. You're very welcome, Mavis. And don't want to fix it because it is you. It is you. They will listen to a scammer and cry when they get taken. Absolutely. All of that is true. Ladies, we have to learn how to maintain our peace regardless of the storm because it's not just important for our well-being as women, but this our emotional state connects to our children. So don't think for 1 second because you had them already, they can't feel you. Yes, they can. And also powerful for women that have already had children. The lifeline that's connected to your child, it still goes both ways. So understand that even though you've had your children, your emotions are greatly intertwined with your child. There's a piece of DNA in your baby from you. There's a piece of your baby in your body of their DNA as well. You can sometimes our emotions are already all over the place and fluctuating because of our natural rhythm and the moon cycle and our menstrual cycle and all of that. But if you invite chaos into your life, trauma and stuff that's unhealed into your life, you make it more hectic. When you're not emotionally intelligent, your life is even more hectic. When you don't understand that you are a vessel by which vibration and frequency pass through, you invite more chaos into your life. When you don't understand that every child that passed through you, you are still connected to, even though they walking around, you invite more chaos because when your child is in an emotional turmoil, when your child is not sleeping well, when your child is emotionally disturbed, whether or not they tell you, whether or not you are an active, hands-on, attentive parent, you can feel your baby's energy. And if you have not practiced that from the time that you brought them in this world, you will think that you're just having an off day when that message should be received and letting you know you need to go check on your baby. I'm a very spiritual woman. So I can be 2 rooms over. My son can be sleeping and I'm somewhere else with the baby monitor clipped to me. And there's a moment when my brain goes, go check on him. Something I feel is off. I always respond to that feeling. And when I tell you from the time that he's been born to now, those emotions have identified things going with him that could not be visible. Discomfort and that kind of thing that I was able to discern because of my connection to my son. So you continue to receive those messages and respond to those messages. So even when they get older, you can still hear them and feel them. And you're still receptive to the messages so you can dial in and tap into your children when they need you. You are still spirit world. It don't matter if you got a teenager, love, and your job is still mother at that time. Just because they're able to verbalize what they have to say does not mean they're not still discovering themselves. You are still there as a translator of emotion. You should still know when your child is lost and unable to express themselves. They will still be detecting areas where they're uncomfortable speaking about how they feel. And you're there as the emotional conduit to be able to pick up on those context clues to help your child out of that rut. Just because they're outside of your womb does not mean you can't hear those whispers about their well-being. Ancestors keep you completely connected. Shani Copeland says, very true. Mine are in their 30s and I could still feel them. That is powerful. And that's what I'm talking about. When I tell you, I don't know what that is, but I could be in the I am so exhausted. I should be unconscious to the world sleep. And my baby could roll over wrong. And I'm up going, like something snatched me out my sleep. Check on your baby. And I find him rolled in a weird way. And I just be like, oh my God, like thinking to myself, like, where does that come from? But if you understand that this is divine, this is about frequency and energy and vibration, and you have a deep connection with your babies. That's why your peace is paramount. Don't think for 1 second that your children don't still feel you even at 30. There's something that crawls up in their spirit and tell them, call your mama, check on her. Is she all right? And when you were in a bad way and your baby called, like, I just wanted to see if you're okay. That's not a mistake. Something about you made them feel off. They calling to make sure you all right. Right on time. The messages never stop flowing. So you have to maintain your peace for their peace. When you start having babies, you are literally allowing pieces of your heart to break off and come drop down in your womb and form legs. And then your little pieces of your heart are going to walk around on the earth. I promise you, mothers that lost their children, I bet you that they felt the devastation long before anybody told them in physical world their child wasn't here. They can feel it coming. Mommy can feel it. Absolutely, absolutely. Finley say it's all right because my children say sometimes they be in different places and they say, "Mama, I heard you telling me something." I promise you, I know that feeling even with my mother. The minute that I'm in a very lost place, I can hear her talking to me, and that was before she passed. I can definitely hear her now, vividly. But when she was alive and on the other side of the world, when I felt off, I could hear her in my dreams. I could see her have a conversation, the whole 9 yards. And I'm like, I don't know what that is, but that is the most beautiful and divine thing I've ever experienced in my life. And it's always been accessible when my spirit felt off. So I'm like, you preserve your well-being for your babies. Because trust me, they feel you even when they don't know what they're feeling. So a lot of you with infants and your baby won't stop crying. When they won't stop crying, you have to ask yourself, are you well? Ask yourself, are you stressed? Ask yourself, are you completely overwhelmed with fatigue? Are you suffering from postpartum? Because your child sometimes will, and a lot of times, be the physical manifestation of what's going on inside of you. Your pets are like that too. Your pets tend to soil all over the house and do weird stuff like that when they feel something off with you. You need to be watching those things, because sometimes you don't know when your energy is off, and you may be focusing on something in your mind and you don't feel like you're focusing that hard. But when your child start to manifest it, and your dog, your puppy start to manifest it, know that it's coming out your pores. At this point, you need to correct whatever that is, because it's changing the energy in your home. You are the first ripple, beloved. Keep control over that so you can manifest something great for everybody else around you. Because trust me, you are the center of it all, whether you know it or not. I appreciate everybody that tuned in on this live. I'm getting ready to go get me something to eat, and get my baby something to eat. And I appreciate you guys participating in this conversation. I'm going to be doing a lot of random lives going forward, but you can always find me here for our really in-depth talks. Those are the ones that I promote and post about on Fridays at 7:30. But I will start trying to do at least one of these a day, just to keep the conversation going. For those of you that have tuned in to Roots and Rebirth on my podcast for the first time on YouTube, I greatly, greatly, greatly appreciate your focus. Hopefully, I'll be able to get my ladies back online so we could get the panel back up and running. Life has been lifing. All of us got stuff going on. All of us got kids. So we took a little break off doing that, but we are all in touch and we're consistently talking about it, and we're ready to get things back up and running so we can start having this conversation again. I appreciate again everybody's participation, our visitors, the new people that are here. Welcome to my page. I appreciate everything that you guys added to the discussion. I cannot wait until this grows substantially, because that's all I want, is a bunch of women with some insight so we can start leaning on each other and sharing wisdom. Like, we need a real intellectually mature tribe of women that can talk about babies, that can talk about relationships, that can talk about our personal issues emotionally, so we can actually elevate as women. Because promoting and subscribing to the toxicity is not where I want to be in the long haul. It's just not. And I hope that there's a lot of women out there that feel the same way, and they want a space that's going to feed their spirituality, a space that's going to feed the best part of themselves, and let them know that they're not alone and they're surrounded by other women that just want to create, live peacefully, and have a beautiful relationship and watch their children prosper, while we lean on each other for our evolution and development. And here is the space to do that. So for the people that were here, much, much gratitude. I will see you guys tomorrow. You guys enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you guys soon. Peace.